Welcome everybody to this regularly scheduled board meeting of the Tahoe PUD. Would you all please stand and join me in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming. At this time, do we have any comments from the audience on non-agenda items? No. So what I would like to move on to, do you have any corrections to the agenda or the consent calendar? You notice there's almost nothing on the agenda, either one of them. So I imagine we don't have a lot of things to talk about on that. Do we have a motion on that?
I move that we approve the consent calendar.
I'll second that. Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Well, I forgot to ask if Nick was on the line. Nick, are you on the line?
Star 6 to unmute.
He is connected according to GoToMeeting.
Okay.
Yeah, Mark and Matt.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, sorry, Nick. I jumped in there. I didn't even know you were here.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Director Shuffleville?
Yes.
President Vogelsang?
Yes.
Director Sheehan?
Yes.
Director Exline?
Yes.
Director Wallace?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Okay, and on our busy action item schedule, we have payment claims.
I'll move approval of payment of claims in the amount of $1,664,635.
I'll second that.
Oh, never mind.
Who knew this?
I'll give it to Wallace.
Yeah, give points.
Don't give
Quick on the
everyone-
try. Give him a bone out there.
One of these
days I'll be back.
Back to the big table. We have a motion and a second. Director Shuffleville?
Yes.
President Vogelsang?
Yes.
Director Sheehan?
Yes.
Director Exline?
Yes.
Director Wallace?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Okay, next up, we're going to move on to standing and ad hoc committee reports. Do we have any of those?
No.
Nick, you okay with that?
Yeah, everything's good with me.
Okay, good. I do have an announcement. I am going to form a new ad hoc committee, and it's going to be the Committee for Organizational Structure, Service, and Efficiency. We've talked about this in the past. The last major organizational structure restructurization, or whatever, if I can make up words, was 15 years ago. So we're going to have this new subcommittee kind of take a closer look at this. I know this is something John talked about right from the moment we hired him, so we're going to kind of look at that a little closer. So it's going to be Chris Cephalo and I, if that's all right for the rest of you. And if it's not, oh well.
Yeah.
It's ad hoc.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an ad hoc committee.
Okay.
Right. Okay, board member reports.
All I have is I've still received a call or two from Randy Llewellyn about the flat line situation, or whatever Calfred's got stuck in his line.
Yeah, we'll have a staff report on that and
Okay,
some thoughts
great.
moving forward for the board.
That's about all I've got on that.
Okay, anything going on at the Alvar Water Agency?
No, we had a meeting on the 18th, and there's another one scheduled next month. We also had a workshop, which I had to leave because the meeting went on too long rather. Didn't get over as early as I thought, but no, nothing real dramatic.
Yeah, we're just continuing to work with the agency on their new strategic plan with the workshop and otherwise.
Okay, general manager report.
Okay, I've got a couple items. A staffing update. We interviewed for 2 heavy maintenance mechanic positions last week. After 10 interviews over 2 days, we selected 1 internal and 1 external candidate. Jason Chatham is our in-house winner, coming from underground repair sewer. He's been cross-training with heavy maintenance on and off actually for the past 1.5 years. So certainly gaining that experience with the work and with the heavy maintenance crew, that really made all the difference. And I know he's really excited to make that transition. So, and the second position was offered to an outside candidate who has he really has extensive experience in many of the duties, the things we're doing here in heavy maintenance already. And he's coming out of Southern California and is proceeding through the pre-employment process. So that can take, 30 days plus or minus. And of course, COVID-19. Generally, continued good news locally on the COVID-19 front. 109 cases were reported, active cases today in El Dorado County. No new cases in South Tahoe. So these case numbers are generally on a continued decline. They're bouncing around a little bit lately, kind of between 80 and I think 110, 120. So I think we can expect that as the town continues to reopen. Barton says that's nothing to be concerned about as long as our test positivity rates are below 6%, and they're actually below 2% currently. So that's all good news. No sickness at the district, and there never has been. We do have one employee returning from an out-of-town family gathering who is out as a precaution for maybe just a few days. We're awaiting his test results. And at the community college testing site that's expected to be open at least through November, we're really lobbying with them to keep that site open as a great resource for South Lake Tahoe especially. And the turnaround on those test results are about 2 days, 1.5 to 2.5 days. So, and they're also really want us to, for asymptomatic testing, they're really recommending that we continue to do that. Our front office, we opened last Monday, and we're seeing customers come in pretty much normal. On the field crews, we will be transitioning our field crews from those 12-hour shifts back to a normal 10-hour shift at the end of this month, which means, we have the Team A and Team B, so they're going to be working the regular shifts, and they'll be working together in midweek, along with all the mitigation measures, the masks, distancing, the cleaning, maybe driving some additional trucks just to get more social distancing. So we're bringing our field crews back. More of our office staff are returning to the office as well, although many will continue to work at home for some period of time due to health risks and school and childcare issues. And also in the office, it's harder to distance in the office versus working in the field or in the plant or even in the shops. So I think this phased-in approach is safer. There's still plenty of COVID risk out there. The average age of our staff is 49 years old, so that's not insignificant. So we still need to be careful, I think, and do what we can. And it's a little hard to believe that no one has gotten sick here at the district so far, and we really want to help keep it that way.
John, along those lines, I would like to entertain the idea of, as early as next board meeting, opening up our board meetings to the public. I think we should be able to do that with the trends the way they're going. I think if you wanted to, we could pull 2 out of 3 chairs or pull, do something to where they could be socially distanced. Historically, yeah. Or we could just do the first 10 people that show up are in, and then after that, I don't know. I just throw these things out there. I will say, as long as I've been on the board, unless there's some super hot topic issue, I don't think we're going to have a problem with attendance. in terms of too many attending. I wish there were more. I wish we had more public input. But on the other hand, the fact that they aren't banging down our doors means we're doing something right.
That's correct. When I first got on the board, like 1990 or so, we didn't have a chair empty for a lot of meetings. So, and it was usually because there was something crazy going on that the public was mad about. So it shows. But the city council, according to my wife, is really kind of struggling with their personal relationships because they work well in a group together, and the online stuff is just not conducive to camaraderie, I think. It's important that a board be able to look at each other and see body language and all that kind of stuff.
I don't know, obviously, John, you have procedure set up on everything. I don't know what we would have to do at the board level. Melanie, can I put you on that?
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
And if the idea was to follow the science, well, our science is telling us that we can go back to work, in our community anyway, which totally surprised me considering the amount of visitors we've had.
Well, yeah, I tell you, we were packed this summer, and the fact that we still have only had 2 fatalities, I don't mean to diminish those 2, but that's incredible, the amount of tourists we had coming into town from all over California mainly.
Yeah, maybe it was all the fresh air because people were outdoors, and I don't know, I don't get it.
Well, anyway, let's see if we can make that happen next week. We'll discuss it more.
Hey, Randy, on that note,
Sure, go ahead.
I was hoping to come back. I was hoping to come back next meeting as well. I missed you guys so much. I missed Dwayne, that personal contact we need to have. Kind of want to look into those big eyes.
But where are we
I
gonna
hope to be there
put
next time as well.
Where are we gonna put Dwayne?
Don't go there, Nick.
No.
I thought that was just between you and
I'm
me.
doing it remotely.
I thought that was just.
My favorite part about doing it remotely is watching Dwayne on the little desk. I love it.
That really hurt. That hurt.
Okay, I think that's enough. Oh, John, you had one more thing?
I have one more thing. Just wanted to mention that our customer assistance program, it's going well. We simplified the process even more and made it even more noticeable on the front page of our website. So as far as utilization, right now, as of, I think today, we have about 250 customers that have taken advantage of this program, receiving just under $90,000 in assistance so far. So the plan is to keep this round open through the end of October, bring a summary to the board in November, and the board can consider a second round starting in December. And we can, of course, modify this program really at any time as the board prefers. So I don't know if the board has any thoughts on this program so far, but other than that, that's all I have for today.
Just a real quick comment. We're working on billing today, and there are going to be 2 sections on the bill on the front that's highlighted where you can go to take advantage of this program, and there's also a space in the back that explains how you can go through and take advantage of it as well. Just want to show that.
Very good. Okay, it looks like we have a couple of staff attorney reports. So Gary, you were going to talk about the Brown Act. There's been some clarifications, is that right?
Yes, I know you enjoyed the 2-hour presentation from Jenna last couple of weeks ago. I thought, well, encore might be fun. This is because a recent law that was signed into law regarding social media. It clarifies that, public officials such as yourself and the board can use social media to put out information about the district, solicit information from your constituents as to what they're thinking. That's all acceptable. The statute makes when the words you got the prohibition, you can't discuss among yourselves more than something less than the majority report. In other words, 2. Here, and now they said that discuss among yourselves includes making posts and commenting, digital icons, reactions, communications on social media, and it applies to basically all the social media platforms. And typically, one communication from one board member to another on a particular subject would not be subject to, that's not prohibited. What this does, though, it prohibits a member, I'm going to read this so I don't mess it up. It prohibits a member of a legislative body from responding directly to any communication on an internet-based social media platform regarding a matter within the subject matter jurisdiction of the legislative body. It is made, posted, or shared by another member of the legislative body. So if Dwayne posts something and let's say, Randy, you like it, so you're going to give him a thumbs up, you can't do that.
Even though it's only 2 people, right?
And even though it's only 2 people, that's no longer, that's not allowed.
No, no.
No thumbs up, no comments, no written comments.
No credit. Get a little credit, all the emojis you can mad.
You know, crying emojis. You know, this is kind of brought up some related issues that, you know, is now the email or posts or whatever you do on the internet, is that now subject to the California Public Records Act? Do those have to be maintained? That has not been answered yet. That's just some questions that have risen because of this new law. You know, and it also comes out where there's been some comments about what if a board member, you know, indicates how he or she intends to vote on a particular matter that's coming before them. Does that deny the person that's before the board due process? So there's some issues that have not been answered by this, and we'll probably find out when someone screws up or does something and then gets sued over it, and we'll get some sort of judicial decision. But anyway, I just want to let you guys know that's out there now, so just be careful on social media.
I have a question. I've noticed at planning commission meetings and some city council meetings, members texting each other. They sit there with their cell phones open. At least it did happen a year or 2 ago. They text each other back and forth during the meeting so people wouldn't hear the conversation. That seems to me to be obviously a violation.
That would appear to be a ground-up violation.
And open to public records. You know, if somebody's doing something like that.
Yeah, because if you're using, I think Jenna covered this during her presentation, if you're using your personal phone for district business and communicating, those are subject to Public Records Act disclosures. So it's one of those, need to be careful.
Okay, thanks, Ray. Sure. Shelley, system efficiency update.
Right. So, a while back, I brought forth to you guys a environmental policy for approval. And in that policy, we talked about setting goals to improve efficiency at the district. And then, oh, this is so you guys can't fall asleep. Thanks, Melanie. Setting goals and then tracking them to measure success and annually reporting it out to the board so you know where we're at on things. So since that policy was developed, we launched a system efficiency group. And the goal of this group is to increase efficiency and sustainability while maintaining the reliability of the district systems. And so even though that sounds maybe a little fluffy, what I'm really excited about for this group is that right now it's starting with a group of managers and figuring out what is it that we currently track. We have all this different data throughout the district. What is it we currently track? What do we want to track? And how can we get some of the dreams and ideas of the people at the district into a reality, prioritize them and make them happen to make our system run more efficiently. So I just wanted to provide a quick heads up that this group has formed. Right now we have an executive committee that consists of most of the people in this room and a few other managers. And we're working on developing performance measures that we want to track to improve system efficiencies. And then we'll get together a group of primarily supervisors, the boots on the ground, the people that really know the systems, to dive in deeper. So my expectation is as we move forward, whether it be annually or once we get moving, maybe quarterly, providing updates on where we're at. And efficiency is a really broad term, but we're really looking at energy, water, fuel, and staffing resources, right? So is there a way that we can do things with technology instead of having field staff be driving around? Is there a way that we can, operations is already doing this, time of use pumping recycled water up and over the Lugo Pass during off-peak hours to save money. And while all these great efforts are going on, we don't have a centralized place where we're tracking it so that we can report out to you how much money was saved, energy saved, water saved, staff resources saved. So I think it's an exciting new effort that's moving forward, and we'll keep you posted as we go. Any questions?
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have anything? Ken?
I do about the issue that Dwayne raised about integrity locksmiths. So integrity locksmiths, as you're probably all aware, is out on Highway 50. And during the Caltrans project, or I guess really during the Caltrans project, he started having problems with his sewer lateral after Caltrans had gone through and done work in that area. So he had a plumber come in, and they were able to really kind of break the stoppage and get his sewage flowing again. Caltrans paid for those plumbers to do that work, and they struggled. They definitely had some challenges and problems. The expectation is that there was some construction debris that was in the line. Time passed, and the sewage backed up again. He had plumbers come out, and they were unable to break it. We came in from the main line side and sent a lateral camera up and took a picture, and sure enough, there's an orange blockage in his sewer lateral that appears to me to be some sort of construction debris. Like
Well, it's orange, so it's got to be Caltrans.
Yeah, I think it may be the cap off of a rebar cover, something like that, or a piece of cone, something to that of that type. But so the homeowner or the property owner, Randy Llewellyn, went to Caltrans and basically Caltrans said, we've closed out the project and we can't do anything for you as far as the project was concerned. He talked to the region folks and they said basically the same thing. It's not our problem. We did what we did and we're out. And so he has been stuck. He's been using a porta potty since then. Unfortunately, he has one bathroom, not a lot of customer use, and so there's not a lot of sewage going down that line, and so that's he's been able to remain open and stay sanitary, but he's stuck, right? He can't get out on Highway 50. Well, he could go out on Highway 50 with a plumber and dig that up and repair it and then file a claim with Caltrans. But that's a huge lift for any private business owner or private land or property owner. And so what we've been asked to do is to resolve that situation. The proposal is that we have staff or a contractor go out there, dig it up, and fix it. And I think that's the only way we're likely to relieve this customer's issue. The problem being that this is a private lateral, does not belong to the district, is not the district's asset. And so we're planning to move forward with that, but wanted to bring that to you. This could potentially open up down the road other customers saying, well, you did work for that guy on Highway 50 on his sewer lateral. Why don't you do it for my sewer lateral?
Under the pavement on the highway.
Connections under the pavement. We actually think the blockage is really at the edge of the sidewalk and the pavement, so you're going to have to tear up both.
Do you think if we did the work and submitted an invoice to Caltrans, we'd have any luck? Particularly if we were able to remove the blockage, say this is what this.
Yeah, I don't know Caltrans' history of paying any of those claims. I can't imagine that it's high. However, Ahmad, who is the regional engineer for construction projects, he wants to be there and observe what comes out of that hole. And so if we pull something out of that, get some good photography and say, yeah, that's definitely construction debris from the Caltrans project, we can really show that. I believe we'll be able to get Ahmad, a Caltrans, pretty senior Caltrans person, to say, yeah, that's our problem. We caused this issue. So I think there's a potential that we can get that reimbursement from them. Or the question I have, and I haven't been able to open their Caltrans form on their website, is can we, as the district, we're not the property owner, we're not the actual asset owner, or do we need to invoice the asset owner and then have him file that claim and then us get paid through that?
That might be the way to go.
Yeah.
I appreciate the work you're doing on that. It opened my eyes to our ordinance that has that, because if Mr. Llewellyn were to hire a contractor he would have to go out across the highway. And in instances where a property owner, normally it would stop at the, you know, at our sewer pipe, but their sewer pipe goes across the highway. We don't want a private contractor tearing up the road. And with all the heavy work that goes on, it could eventually become more of a problem with others. There should be something in our ordinance that says that it stops at the edge of the highway, and then it's our responsibility from the highway to our pipes. It feels like it to me. But Llewellyn is into it about $5,000 or $6,000. He says, right now I just don't have that kind of money to keep. And he sees no end to it because the private guys just don't have long enough or the right kind of equipment. And they don't want to be out on the highway. So maybe there's an ordinance blip in there somewhere someday.
I bet Jerry has a comment on that.
I do have a comment, thank you. Very perceptive. Staff, as a result of one of the projects this last year, we were
Apache sewer.
at the staff level, we've been looking at now the district's administrative code on this, and also looking practically at from a project perspective as well. And so we've had, several meetings that got delayed, I think, during the construction season, but just a couple of weeks ago, Julie reminded me we hadn't finished that discussion yet. And so I think the idea was to finish that discussion at a staff level and then bring that item back to the board with a presentation and a recommendation how to handle that.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it because I didn't know how many there were. There might be quite a few.
There's a handful. I mean, I think there's some problems with the existing code we need to take a look at. We don't want to take on too much risk. So it's a balance between, but this is in Highway 50. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous to throw that on a customer.
Yeah.
In this situation. So we'll pick that up and bring it to the board.
We may have to, he might have to apply for an exception to our code to be, to cover everybody.
Yeah, and at this point, because it's October 1 and we want to get there before dig season, we're planning to move pretty quickly on this issue.
Okay.
But again, there's some exceptions to this that we're planning to pursue reimbursement through Caltrans. And so there's definitely some specific conditions that are relative to this particular sewer lateral. One of our concerns with sewer laterals and taking responsibility for that, of course, is that if right now, if there's a sewer spill that comes from an individual's lateral, we're not responsible for it as the district. We at times we help people and try to figure out what's going on, but those are typically resolved with private plumbers doing work on private assets to relieve whatever the issue might be. And if there's a spill, that ends up being on the customer and they don't get to be pursued. And that could be an enforcement issue against us in the future if there are a lot of sewer lateral spills. That's definitely has been historically a concern for us.
Well, it's the character of this organization to seek to do the right thing, so I appreciate the work.
There are private contractors that can do that work.
Oh, absolutely.
Gang being one of them, Herbeck being another. I mean, they're
they do.
not limited in
That's
the
who built
people that can accomplish that job.
Yeah, private contractors built Highway 50, so there's definitely people who can get out there and do all that work.
And at the end of the day, Caltrans on the hook for that. If it's a piece of cone or a top of a rebar cap, I mean, they can't say it's closed out because it never really got resolved.
So they paid to have the line cleared through the plumbers. Again, and this issue came up later. We think what happened is this debris got in there and it cleared it out enough that he could use his sewer line. Well, that eventually pushed down and got stuck, and it just completely blocked the sewer line. So it was a delay. There, when I talked to Caltrans, I talked to a few people at Caltrans on this issue. Their issue is, from their end, they would love to do something about it. They would love to help us out, but they have no money. They have no mechanism in their contracts to be able to go back and say, this is how I can pay you to do that. That's the position that they're taking. They're not saying that it's not construction debris. They're saying they don't have any mechanism
They're
to say
saying the
this.
contract's closed, so they can't pay any more money out because they did that job.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I just have one quick thing.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody had an opportunity to join us for the virtual 70th anniversary yesterday morning at 10 o'clock. Wayne was on the line.
Great.
There are cupcakes in the back for you to enjoy. They're poop emoji cupcakes.
Yeah, we saw that.
We're calling them poop cakes. To help yourself to that and some coffee when the meeting's over.
Yeah, I'd like to, I listened to it, and I think John did a great job of cleaning things up, but I must say, lion's share, kudos, goes to Shelley.
Oh, yeah.
She did a great job of putting it together.
For sure.
Really, really good.
Yeah, I was telling everybody, I thought we ought to have a button on our website to learn about the district and have that as the button.
And that should be right in the next.
Or a history tab or something, right?
Yeah, on our website, under who we are, if you click it, it talks a little bit about the district history. And I had IT record it, and so we're going to post it on the website, hopefully either tomorrow or Monday, so in the next few days. So I'll share a link with folks once that's posted. I've got a lot of requests for that, so, you know, if you called in or missed it or wanted to see it, it will be coming soon to theaters.
Okay, cool. If there's nothing else, we do have a real brief closed session, then.
I just wanted to mention one more thing. We had the board candidates came by yesterday, and we gave them a presentation and a tour of the treatment plant, so thought that went well, and
They all attended.
all were there, all 7.
Cool. So yeah, let's come out of open session and go into closed session, and super good to get out of here.
Yep, I'm done.
Okay, we're moving out of closed session into open session, nothing to report, being adjourned.